You're listening to Dairy Voice by Dairy Business News, a podcast exclusively for the dairy industry.
One of our sponsors of the Dairy Voice podcast is National DHIA. NDHIA ensures information accuracy and represents their members' interests. They are the direct voice for the dairy information industry. To find out more, go to dhia.org.
OneTrack is a new choice for progressive dairies looking to simplify feeding practices and elevate performance. Fed at up to 40% of the ration, this high-energy macro ingredient works alongside on-farm ingredients to reduce sourcing, mixing, and batching, freeing up valuable time and resources. For more information, go to OneTrack, that's TRAK, right.com. That's ONETRAKRIGHT.com.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the Dairy Voice podcast by Dairy Business News. I'm your host, Connie Kuber, with Seal Pro Silage Barrier Films by Connor AgriScience. Thanks for joining us today. Please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with all your friends. And before we get started, I always keep in mind that we have listeners who are not part of the dairy industry, and we appreciate you learning about the great lengths the dairy industry goes to educate and share information that benefits not only the cattle we manage, but the people who consume our products. Thank you for listening. So, taking the guesswork out of growing crops through imaging land is an exciting and very real opportunity. Strategizing for the best crop outcomes and yields with the use of technology has become a hot topic lately, and we're here to cover it. My guests today are Patty Larkin, a consultant with the Agriculture Consulting Services, and Matt Fox, who is the manager of the Agronomy Services Division for Agriculture Consulting Service, or ACS.
Hey there, after you've finished enjoying this podcast, might I recommend you join me, Tim Hammerich, and our guests on Clarity at Work from Zoetis. We'll be talking genetics and their place on the dairy. You've got a seat at the table as we discuss innovations, what's next for the industry, and more.
I have to find the value in everything that I do, and I still find value in Clarified Plus, so we're going to continue to use it.
Just search for Clarity at Work wherever you listen to podcasts. Once you finish with this podcast, of course.
So, welcome to the Dairy Voice podcast. Patty and Matt, please introduce yourself, give us some background on your experience, and tell us about what you do.
So, like you said, my name's Matt Fox. I'm the manager of Agronomy Services. My background in agriculture stems all the way back to when I was a kid. I grew up on a small crop farm at the south end of Skaneateles Lake in New York. That passion never really went away, and it carried me through high school and into college. I attended SUNY Cobleskill, graduated with a plant science degree in horticulture. And then pretty much right after that, I started working here at Dairy One ACS and kind of just kept climbing the ranks and learning and growing new experiences. And now I sit here managing the agronomy services team and looking forward to progresses and keep learning more things.
I'm Patty Larkin. I am an agroecologist. My background is I got an environmental science degree in New York from University of Buffalo, and then I went out west and got another degree from UC Davis and came back home where I really wanted to work with farms in the landscape that I grew up on. And so that's what I've been doing for the past 13 years is working with farms, mainly dairy farms, to figure out how to grow the most crops per acre and optimize their systems. And we really focus on systems that use manure.
Clean, high-quality forage doesn't happen by accident. It's built from the field up. With research-proven Magniva forage inoculants from Lallemand Animal Nutrition, you can unlock clean, quality forage for your herd, every crop, every ton, every year. Magniva forage inoculants drive efficient fermentation, reduce dry matter losses, and optimize feed value and intakes, so more of what you harvest turns into performance in the bunk. Better fermentation, better stability, better use of your forage investment. Gain every advantage from field to feed with Magniva forage inoculants. Discover how Magniva can elevate your silage quality by visiting magniva.com.
Okay, so tell me what is, we're talking about twine.ag today. So, Matt, tell me what twine.ag is.
It's our groundbreaking software that our hope is that it ties together all aspects of ACS and offers our clients data management from their field maps, record keeping. It'll allow our agronomists to be able to make accurate zone level recommendations. Our clients will be able to keep tighter records and view them real time along with the consultants. They'll be able to connect established data that they collect from their tractors and incorporate it with twine.ag so that it's a seamless tool across all platforms that any grower may use, whether it's a red tractor or a green tractor. Any of these services that the dealers provide should be able to seamlessly integrate.
Tell me a little bit more in detail about the kinds of things that the twine.ag will do for you. As far as I noticed on your website, I took a peek at it, and you can plot fields. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so that's a great tool, the field map creator that we have in there, and it's something that ACS prides itself with is creating really accurate field maps. So part of the agronomy services team, we field truth all of the field boundaries prior to installation. And then while we're out there field proofing it, we are able to draw it in with a point click system that then is able to formulate, and then we can get acres from the field. We can develop zones within the field, management zones, whether it's based on setback distances or field management distributions for variable rate or variable seeding. There's a lot of tools that go into that field creation, and it all kind of just stems with how the farm best wants to manage that ground.
So a lot of what we do is focused in manure. I had mentioned this earlier. A lot of our nutrient management plans focus around manure, and there's a lot of regulations around manured systems.
Sure.
And we found that we were often working in two different systems because the systems that really promote precision agronomy and pushing yields on every acre typically don't incorporate manure into those types of recommendation and data management systems. And then we have farms that use manure, and we have this environmental compliance piece. And those pieces of off-the-shelf software really didn't push yields on every acre. They were not really good precision agronomy tools. And we want to be able to do both. And that's why we're creating Twine, is we want to be able to push yields on every acre and grow the best crops using manure, which is often a regulated commodity, and it makes the farms regulated. So Matt was mentioning to go out and map fields, and if you're using manure, you often have to have setbacks, and you have to have maps that show where wells are and show where streams are. And our team does an excellent job of going out and mapping all of those and showing farms where setbacks are, because those pieces of communication, not only just are they important for farms when they're managing across thousands of acres with crews that they need to be able to communicate with, but they become a compliance piece that's really important for protecting our waterways as well.
This episode is brought to you by DRMS. DRMS is excited to launch the Fresh Cow Index, FCI, a new metric within the Herd HQ platform. FCI is featured in the Fresh Focus Transition Cow Reports inside Dairy Depot and will be available in DART in the future. FCI combines 25 individual cow variables from DHIA test day data and CDCB genetic evaluations into a single, easy-to-understand score for evaluating transition cow performance. A score of 100 indicates expected performance. Cows above 100 are outperforming predictions, while those below 100 are more likely to underperform and face early culling risk. Producers and consultants can use FCI to evaluate month-over-month changes in feeding and management, understand herd-level transition success, and drill down into Cow Compass for detailed cow-level insights. Herd HQ. See what's happening in your herd. Learn more at drms.org/herd/what-is-herd HQ.
So what kind of equipment are you using to draw these maps up?
When we draw the maps, we are able to draw them. So historically, it's been hand drawn when the technician's in field. But now with Twine, we are able to not only draw those maps in the field via twine.ag loaded up right on our tablet, we could also take those rough copies back to the computer and draw them in. So basically, when you're in the field, we not only can we download the geospatial data that maybe a farm has presented to us through their account, and then we can field proof it. We could also then see from state entities what those field plot layers look like, or HSA acres look like, and then we can upload that data directly from those entities as well.
Okay.
So it can either be drawn in by technicians, or we can upload it from previously established data that was collected. So it makes it super seamless as far as that goes. We're able to make it as accurate, and we can edit it on the fly too. So if there's a change in the field that you cannot see from satellite imagery, but you're looking at it real time while a technician is in the field, you can edit it on the go. And now you've got accurate acres and you've got accurate field boundaries. Things that are ever changing in agriculture as progress keeps flowing and practices change.
So by field proofing, what do you mean by that? I mean, for example, for the soil sampling, what do you mean by field proofing?
Field proofing is just boots on the ground, a technician in the field, making sure that what is seen on a map is what is accurate and represented in real time. So technician in the field matching up with what the boundary is. We have a geo-tracking measure on the system. So whether a tech is on foot or ATV or truck, the little blue dot icon will track the technician around wherever they are in that field, and they will know if they are within that boundary or outside of that boundary. So whether we are creating the field boundaries or soil sampling from within the boundaries, we know exactly where that technician is geospatially located.
Important when it comes to our within field soil sampling. So if we're grid sampling and you're on a 1 acre grid or a 2 acre grid, making sure that your sample that you're pulling is inside the grid that it's supposed to represent.
Right.
If you're using a hand-drawn map, you never quite sure know where you are. So it has to be geospatially, the person pulling the sample has to be geospatially referenced, or the machine pulling the sample needs to be geospatially referenced in that map.
Okay. So in addition to the soil sampling, and then I see on your website, there's a soil sampling table, which kind of defines what you've found. All right. And that would help you with determining, I would think, fertilizing rates and that kind of thing, correct?
Yes. So we use the soil sample is kind of the ground level. It is the foundation that we build our fertility plans from. And so we need accurate soil samples, and we need to know accurately where they're from. And so that's the foundation of all of our other planning, is that soil sample. It's why it's so important to make sure we get that right, so that the rest of the plan is based on a good foundation. And then from there, we can develop variable rate lime, variable rate potash applications, variable rate nitrogen applications, and variable rate seeding applications. And so once we get that foundation right, and we can overlay that foundation of soil sampling with other data coming in from other pieces of equipment from around the farm, like your yield data coming in from the chopper, and even the soil type information, or if you do any kind of EC mapping, electrical conductivity mapping, we can bring that layer in. And then you layer that, and you can write some algorithms of how you want to interpret that data to deliver a sound agronomic recommendation for fertility on that, on a grid by grid basis. And the equipment can implement it. So then we can send that variable rate prescription back to the equipment at the farm, and the equipment can implement that precision.
And then the next layer would be the manure application, I'm guessing. Yeah.
We are not quite there. The equipment isn't really there yet for variable rate manure applications, because there's a lot of pressure in that system, and that can be pretty tricky when you're trying to automatically vary that pressure. But we can put a flat rate of manure on or a grossly variable rate manure application on and then come back and balance with fertilizer if we need to.
Sure. Okay, good. Well, thank you. That clears up in my mind what twine.ag is. So why should farmers be excited about this software? What's special about it?
We have never been able to find another piece of software that allows us to really push our yields on a per acre basis the same with manure as the main source of fertility on the farm, and a fertility source that often has regulations around it. So we are excited to be able to offer that to the industry at large, that we have a tool that can handle manure as a nutrient source with all of the regulations surrounding it. And we can really offer you a precision agronomy approach to agriculture and yield management across your farm acres with this tool.
How did ACS get involved in making this software?
We wanted and we needed to move away from legacy platforms. The goal was to integrate and enhance our clients' past experiences with multiple platforms and try to streamline it into one tool. And multiple platforms, what I mean by that is platforms that we use across our database management. So what we're trying to get away from is using multiple tools and be able to flush and put them all together into one system. And that one system, then we're able to pull good recommendations from, and we're able to moderate things out of just one process instead of multiple different processes. But it also, like I had mentioned earlier, it's going to be able to integrate field data and yield data from other developers. And we want it to be a collaborative tool and device for growers to use, regardless of where they're located. Ultimately, this is something that we want to be able to provide and make it usable and feasible. So that's how we got into creating Twine as a whole, I believe.
Get your Seal Pro silage barrier film today. Protect the seed, fertilizer, labor, and expensive inputs that you've invested in. Choose best-in-class Seal Pro now in 3 different versions: traditional 2-roll application, our new co-rolled application, and super simple and wildly successful 1-layer film, Seal Pro 1. It's easy to buy, easy to use. Contractor covering? We'll work with them. Learn more at sealprosilage.com. That's SEALPRO silage.com. Family owned and operated for over 25 years. 559-779-5961. That's 559-779-5961.
What's a feature about twine.ag that you think will be really useful to growers?
To me, I believe that the data keeping and the record keeping capabilities, that is something that our clients have asked for years, is better tools to manage that data. I could give you a handful of handwritten manure log entries, and I would love to see you decipher handwriting. It's great until it's not. Right. So this tool is honestly, it makes it so much easier, as long as whether the farm is still writing that stuff down by hand, or if they've got a tablet in their truck or tractor with them while they're doing the spreading. But it basically is able to, it asks them very simple questions with drop downs. They just fill out those lines with specifically manure record keeping, which is some of the most important records that the farm can keep, specifically in New York with the regulations that we have. And it breaks it down super simple so that when we go to review those, or if the state needs to review those, it lays it out perfect, and there's no guessing. There's no, I need to call the farm back up and figure out what they meant by this. I think that is probably one of the most useful tools, as well as it just gives farmers a way to better analyze field level data. So they can, like Patty had mentioned, they can layer that data, whether they're looking at yield data or soil sample results, or if they're looking at it as basic as looking at what their crop rotation is across the field or across the entire farm. That's a really nice tool, especially even if you're during like crop scouting season to be able to see what did I plant in certain fields. You grow enough crops and sometimes you forget. It's easy enough to do. So you can
Right.
see all of that stuff across the entire farm. So those overlays, I think, are going to be super useful at the client level. And then obviously for us at the management level, there's tools that I'm sure Patty can talk about.
Yeah, on the consulting side, the tools that we use when we have good, clean data systems coming in from the farm, their yields, their manure records, their fertilizer records, the as applied records, where herbicides got sprayed, those are all really, really helpful for us when we're trying to play the role that they hire us to play, which is to manage this during the crop season and to make sure we're not missing anything so that every acre is optimized.
My next question was about common issues, but I think that the accuracy is a big part of that. Are there any other issues that the technology can help with?
No, I mean that's the biggest thing that we need right now at the moment, or as a need and a request, like I had mentioned, is just those clean records, not only for us when we are making recommendations, but also for liabilities and anything
Right.
that could get farms into trouble. You need clean records, and sometimes that falls by the wayside, not even intentionally. It's just the day to day. So clean records, consolidated data that's not spread out across 4 or 5 different platforms, and it's like, well, I need to ask for this count on this platform, but I'm also pulling it on this platform.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that we've dealt with in the past where it's the same data, but farms are using it in different ways. Also, I think it's just going to provide better communication from the clients, our technicians, and our agronomists. Everybody's going to be looking at the same information on one platform. In the past, there's been agronomists that want to use this, but don't want to use this. So their clients are using something different than another agronomist's clients are using, but the technicians are working with all of those clients. So they have to figure out then, okay, what is this group of clients using? And so it's just going to streamline it all into one program. That way, if I'm calling up a farm, hey, how do you get into this field? Or I need to know where this access point is. They're not asking what I'm talking about if they're not using the same software that I am. So I think that's going to be some of the issues that'll get straightened out with implementation of Twine.ag. So
Interesting. Well, it also it sounds like it's going to take the guesswork out, and it's going to, farmers I know have a little notebook in their pocket that they write a lot of stuff down on, and then if it doesn't get transcribed, so it'd be a lot less chasing down little pocket notebooks, I think.
Oh yeah, and hope that pocket notebook doesn't go through the wash either.
Right, or gets left on a workbench and full of grease, or rained on, or driven over, or whatever. No, I get that. Yeah. So there's other software that's out there right now for a similar thing, but why should farmers switch to Twine.ag?
We're not really asking farms to switch. A lot of farms are using platforms, for example, like a JD system, and we're not asking them to switch from that system. What we're trying to create is a system that communicates seamlessly with that system.
I see.
So a lot of their yield data comes into that system, and that system doesn't deliver nutrient recommendations.
Right.
But our system does. And then that system also doesn't necessarily bring data in from other sources like as applied herbicide data. All the stuff you need to make a really sound agronomic decision during the crop season is you want all that information. And so this is a tool that'll help enhance the software that they're already using. And as I've mentioned before, we really don't have software that allows us to use manure as the main fertilizer source for growing a crop, and this one does.
Well, and like you said, it also gives you a leg up on where the streams are, and where the little creeks are, and where the potential problems areas can lie. Correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep. And those can be viewed on their tablet or on their screen in the tractor, where the well is, what the setback is on that particular water body or well.
Okay. looking forward then, what are some upcoming developments that we can look forward to?
Well, we're really excited about our variable rate tools. We have, like I mentioned earlier, we have the variable rate lime and potash, which we've implemented for a long time. And we have our variable rate seeding and nitrogen tools that are rolling out this spring. And one of the reasons we're so excited about those tools is we've always relied on third-party software for those tools. And then for whatever reason, we'll find a tool that we really like and it's great, especially for variable rate nitrogen. And then it gets pulled off the market and we don't know why. And we've invested a lot of time in building bridges to that tool with our data and figuring out how to use it. And so now we're going to have our own in-house variable rate nitrogen tool and variable rate seeding tool that uses and allows us to create recommendations using that data and to deliver that variable rate prescription the way that we want to do it, and the way that as agronomists and consultants that we really feel is the best way to deliver that information. So we're excited about those.
Is there anything that we didn't cover or any kind of summarization that you'd like to make of the twine.ag?
Oh, I'm sure that there's 100 things that we glossed over. As it's being developed, there's so many new awesome things that the development team have been either introduced to or have brought up or mentioned, or clients, consultants, anybody that's been involved with this process. There's a lot of really cool ideas that are being thrown around. So as this eventually keeps bubbling up and building, I think it's going to be able to do so many more things than what we've mentioned. I think we're just touching the surface with what the capabilities for Twine can do. I mean, that's why we called it Twine. As any farmer knows, Twine is the ultimate tool that can keep the farm running.
Exactly.
It is attached to everything. And that was the complete goal with this software, is to have it attached to everything. So the only other thing that I have to mention would be that if anybody would like to learn more, to attend or listen into the Northeast Dairy Management Conference on March 4th at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We can get that information out, or you can contact us on the ACS website, email, phone call. We'd love to field those questions as Twine starts to get out to more people.
Patty, anything you want to add?
No, I think Matt did a great job summarizing it.
Okay, very good. Very good. Well, thank you. I'm curious in the future I'm coming from the silage side of things, from the opposite end of things, if you're going to be capable of looking at what moisture levels are in the fields and that kind of thing as these, especially corn plants, mature.
Yeah, so that's a technology we have tested a lot in the past, is how do we get that information? So right now, what our company does is we do a lot of NIR testing in the field for moisture. We've looked into technologies that can do flyovers to try to estimate what that stand moisture is, whether that's on corn silage or alfalfa. And here in the Northeast, weather and flight times and flight conditions get in the way of really making that a feasible option for management so far. But that is a technology that we are looking into and will be able to bring into Twine once we figure out how to make that really a manageable a tool that we can use. Twine is built in a way that you can plug into it in many different ways. And so, we've built it so it can be a very flexible tool as new ideas come in, where we can plug into it and add additional information to make management decisions.
Well, good. Thanks. So where can people find out more about twine.ag?
Well, they can search twine.ag in their search engine. It should bring them to the page, but they can also just go to acscrops.com, and that should bring them to a Twine page as well.
To the Dairy One website, which is tied in with ACS Crops as well. So.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you both for the conversation today. This is very interesting, very exciting new technology. We've come a long way since the start of using this kind of information and an ability to collect that and use it. So, well, thank you. I'm Connie Kuber with Seal Pro Silage Barrier Film by Connor AgriScience. Today, we've been talking to Patty Larkin and to Matt Fox, who are with ACS, and we've had a great discussion here. So as we talk about Planting fields for planting and growing. It's never too early to start planning for next year's silage harvest. That's my part of the deal here. But let me know if we can help. And you've been listening to the Dairy Voice by Dairy Business News. Please subscribe, like, and share this podcast. And as we head into spring, I'll remind you all to please stay safe out there when you're working in your crops. Thanks again for listening, everyone, and we'll talk again very soon.